There are many ways to illustrate the Christmas spirit. There's the original birth story, first and foremost, and then through life and literature, any number of other Christmas chronicles which evoke the essence of the season. This year, we have been particularly moved by one, and we wanted to share it. In Lenox, Iowa, this is going to be a better Christmas for Harvey Quillen.
Yeah.
And an even more meaningful one for Doris Russell, who lives in Raymore, Missouri.
I think it's going to make Christmas a little different for all of us.
Because Doris Russell and Harvey Quillen have discovered each other at last. Harvey is 77 now, and he still has the mind of a child. He cannot tell the whole story himself, but he remembers what happened to him when he was 10. His father was Vasco Quillen.
He dropped me off here.
Doris Russell knows more of the story.
Obviously, the father could not take care of him, or I don't know, but in 1934 he was placed in a boys' home in Iowa.
Harvey was placed in what was then called the Glenwood Home for Feeble-Minded Children. In the 1930s, many Americans unable to take care of their retarded children did the same thing. Sandy Helm works in the home where Harvey Quillen lives today.
People back then, if they had a child who was challenged in some way, whether it was mental or physically, people looked down upon them as if they had a bad gene in their family.
In 1934, in the middle of the Great Economic Depression, the conditions in many homes for disabled and retarded children were pretty bad. There was no adequate medical care, often no heat and little food. Sometimes the children worked in the fields to help the institution get by. Harvey Quillen's childhood was like that.
I know that the father did not visit him. How would a 10-year-old feel when he was abandoned like that?
I was a little boy then.
In 1951, on Harvey's birthday, a letter arrived at the home. "Dear son," it said, "I'm wishing you a very, very happy day and send you my love. We will try to come to see you, but don't know when we can. I hope you're well. Love, Dad." Harvey waited year after year. His father never came.
That was the last correspondence that he ever had.
Harvey's father died in 1954. On the quiet plains of Iowa, Harvey never knew. Christmas after Christmas came and went. In the 1980s, Harvey was transferred to the Taylor Ridge Nursing Home in Lenox. Everyone there knows about the letter that Harvey has kept all those years. Harvey often talked to himself in different voices.
You might wonder if that was his replacement for a family he didn't have.
And then one day, last spring, Doris Russell discovered Harvey Quillen. Mrs. Russell was putting together a family tree when she noticed someone missing, a boy who'd been institutionalized long ago.
This was his dad.
And last week, Doris Russell, having found him, rounded up several other members of Harvey's family and went to pay a Christmas visit.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
How are you?
Very good.
As for the future, Mrs. Russell was very concerned that Harvey not die alone, and she hoped he'd be buried in the family plot. That was kind, Harvey said, but he wants to be buried with the other children, abandoned with him more than 60 years ago. They were his family too.
Harvey, give us a smile. Harvey.
But this is a much better Christmas for Harvey. He has two families now. Back in a moment.